In this video, I'm going to break down your messaging and why it is super important and how to actually fix the messaging for the business that you have. Messaging is the thing that actually gets somebody to be interested in what you have to offer. So if your content is getting ignored, if your ads aren't converting, and if people are seeing your stuff and scrolling right past it, it's probably not the video quality and it's not the budget of the ads, it's the message that you actually have. But that's good news because right now the messaging is something you can fix without spending a dollar more on ads. And so in this training, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to write messaging that stops the scroll, it builds trust fast, and it gets people to actually take action. And this is the same exact framework I've used with my inner circle clients to help them from getting ignored online to consistently booking in calls and closing new customers. So let's just jump right into this. And here's the honest truth about why most business content doesn't work. It's because most businesses post about themselves, their work, their team, their awards, their certifications, graphics. And look, none of that is really bad information, but here's the problem. Nobody really cares about that yet. And when someone's scrolling on Instagram, they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves, their problem, their situation, their life. So when your first message is something like this, where a family-owned company with 15 years of experience, you've already lost them. And then on top of that, the messaging is way too generic. Everyone hears we're the best, quality you can trust, licensed and insured. Everyone hears that. So that is just noise. That's what I call it. It's just noise. Every single one of your competitors is saying the same exact thing. So there's no emotional hook. There's nothing that makes someone stop and say, wait, that's me. They're talking about me. And that's exactly what we're going to fix today. So here's a foundation that everything is pretty much built on. Your customer does not care about your business. They care about their problem and whether you can solve it. So your one job in any piece of content or any ad, any caption is to make them feel understood before you ever try to sell them anything, because most people are going to buy from someone that will actually get them. And trust isn't going to be built by claiming you're the best. It's going to be built through specificity and through saying something so accurate about their situation that they feel like you are reading their mind. And so the fastest way to earn someone's attention is to name their pain out loud before they even told you about it. And that's what great messaging actually does. So before you write a single word of your copy or messaging or ad or content, you need to get clear on exactly who you're actually talking to. And I don't mean just generic homeowners in my city. That's not specific enough. I mean, who is the specific person? What do they want? What do they fear? What have they already tried that didn't work? And I want you to just think about it this way. So if you are a roofer, your customer isn't just a homeowner. They're a homeowner who noticed a water stain on their ceiling 3 weeks ago. They Googled it, they called two companies. One never called back, the other gave them a quote that was way higher than they expected. Now they're frustrated, they're skeptical, and they just want someone they can actually trust. That's who you're talking to. Because here's the counterintuitive truth: the more specific you get, the more people feel like you're talking directly to them. You can't write good messaging for everyone. When you try to reach everyone, you end up reaching no one. So get specific, get inside their head, and then you can write from that place. And then moving on, most businesses lead with what they do, again, but great messaging leads with what the customer gets. So let me show you what the difference is. So you can see here the week, it has a feature first. We offer professional HVAC installation with certified technicians and 10 years of experience. That's not good. But a strong is an outcome first driven is tired of your house feeling like a sauna in July. We'll have you cool in 24 hours guaranteed. That's the difference. One talks about you, and then one talks about them. And then here's another example that we have right here. So a weak version is licensed and insured landscaping company serving Northern Virginia. But something strong is stop being the house on the street that needs work. We'll get you a yard you're proud of in one visit. So every time you sit down to write something, you need to ask yourself, what does my customer actually want to feel or have or experience on the other side of the actual service that you're providing. So you want to lead with that always. So in terms of learn to speak their pain specifically, generic pain is going to get ignored, but specific pain will actually stop the scroll. And so here's what I mean by this. A generic example of pain is finding a good contractor is hard, but a very specific example is you called three companies, one ghosted you, one gave you a quote $8,000 higher than you expected, and the third still hasn't called you back. If you were a consumer or a prospect, which one would hit different for you? The specific one would, because it's true. And when someone reads that, they think, wow, how did that person know? Like how did they know? And when you can get them to think that, you've got them like that. So this is why the best thing you can do is actually talk to your customers. You just listen to exact words they use, the exact frustrations they describe, and then you mirror that language back into your content. So not just some generic, again, when going to the second example, like homeowners want quality work, but this specific example of you've already had one crew leave the job half finished, you're not looking for cheap, you're looking for someone who actually shows up. That specific messaging is what builds that trust instantly. And then here's the thing, you want to sound real. You don't want to sound just like fake. Like you want to sound real and not really polished. Like you don't need to sound super professional. And this is one that kills a lot of business because they write the way that they think they're supposed to sound. Instead, you need to write the way that you just talk. So the way that you would think you should write is something like this, where the sounds fake section, we pride ourselves on delivering exceptional customer experiences with unmatched craftsmanship and a commitment to excellence. Nobody really talks like that. And I get it, it does sound professional, but it also sounds like every other business on the planet. Nobody really believes that, and nobody feels anything reading it either. So here's what actually works. We show up on time, we do what we say, and we clean up after ourselves. That shouldn't be rare, but it is. So that is real. That's how you would talk. That's specific, and that's the kind of thing that actually will build trust. So the rule is simple. Just write how you talk, and everybody talks different. So just write how you talk and not how you think your business should sound. So short sentences, there's gonna be no extra words, no fluff. If you can cut a word out, then cut the word out. And real is going to beat the polished professional tones every single time. Okay, so now the hook. You have 2 seconds to earn attention. So everything we've talked about matters, but none of it actually matters if the first 2 seconds don't stop somebody in their tracks or stop them from scrolling. So the hook is everything. And if the first line, again, doesn't earn their attention, they are going to be gone. So there are 4 types of hooks that consistently work, and I'm going to go through them here. But number one is calling them out, and this is not in like a ranking or order, but just wanted to give you some examples. So number one is calling them out. If you own a home in the DMV and you've been putting off your roof, watch this. Number two, name the actual pain. Most homeowners are overpaying for HVAC repairs and don't even know it. Number three is challenging a belief. So the example would be the reason you can't find a good contractor isn't bad luck. Here's what's actually happening. And then number four, making a bold claim. We booked 14 new jobs last month from Instagram. Here's exactly how. So pick one of these, use it, test it. You can, make different videos with all of this. But then remember, you have 2 seconds to actually make it count and get somebody to stop on your page. And then going to the 5-part message structure that actually will convert, I just want to give you this framework. So this works for ads, captions, video scripts, DMs. This works for pretty much anything. So there's 5 parts to it. And every piece of great messaging will follow this flow. And so with my messaging, I use the same exact flow. But step one is the hook. So you want to stop the scroll. You want to name the pain, call an audience, challenge a belief, the exact, frameworks that I just went through in the last slide. You already know how to do this now. So that's going to be step one. Step two is a problem. So agitate the pain, make them feel understood, and you want to be specific, not generic. So this is where you show that you actually get their problem. And then step three is why it happened. So explain the root cause of their problem. And then this is the part that most business owners actually skip. And it's where you build the most credibility. So when you can explain why they're in pain, they will be able to trust you to fix it automatically. And then step four is the solution. So present your offer as the natural answer, not hard selling. You just need to tell them, hey, here's what we do, here's how it solves exactly what you're dealing with. And then step five is going to be the call to action. So you want to have one clear next step that is direct, simple, low friction. It tells them exactly what to do. So let me show you this in action with a real example of a roofing company in Northern Virginia. So the hook, if your roof is more than 15 years old and you haven't had it inspected, this is for you. That's the hook, the problem. Most homeowners wait until there's a leak. By then, what should have been a $500 fix turns into a $12,000 replacement, and your insurance might not cover it. Solution, we do free inspections for homeowners in the DMV. No pressure, no sales pitch, just an honest look at what's going on up there. And then the call to action is DM us the word roof and we'll get you booked this week. That's it. That's a complete high converting ad right there. No fluff, no professional speaking, just a message that is actually speaking to the right person at the right time, somebody who would need a roof. So here's the thing that I really want you to take away from all of this is that messaging is a skill, not a talent. So it's not something you either have or you don't have. The more you practice actually writing this and speaking to pain and leading with the outcomes and sounding like a real person, the more your content will start to actually do selling for you. So before you post anything from this point forward, run it through this checklist that you can see up here on the screen. Does the hook stop attention in the first 2 seconds? Am I speaking to a specific person's specific pain? Am I leading with the outcome they want, not the service I offer? Does it sound like a real person talking, or does it sound like a professional corporate brochure? Is there one clear call to action that tells them exactly what to do next? And if it doesn't pass all of these, then rewrite it. Every single time you need to just rewrite it. And you can just rewrite one part. You don't have to rewrite the whole thing. So this is exactly the kind of work we do inside of my program. It's not just strategy, but actually building the content, the ads, the messaging systems that run your growth for you. If you've been watching my content for a while and you want to know more about how this actually works and how we can work together, then there will be a link in the description down below. You can book a strategy call with me. I'd love to be able to see where you're at and figure out if we can help. So thanks for watching, but now just go write something that will actually convert your prospects into paying clients. So peace, guys.